Okay, I think record and present. Good. All right, I was going to have you read, but just so I can go over the information today, we're just going to start off with psychoanalysis. Freud. Okay, Freud. When you think of famous psychologist, Sig Freud is probably the one you're going to think about. Okay, he's the one you're going to think about. So, well, I'll write it up here soon. But I'm going to have an assignment here for you. So, Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis, his psychoanalytic theory, is in some ways very, very perverted. Okay, I don't know how else to describe it. But it's to a point where we try to find relationships, build relationships with people that most resemble our family members, people that we feel comfortable with. Okay, so when you think of your mother, father, not in all cases, I guess, but for the most part, we think of our mother as a comforting person, someone that we look to for advice, someone that helped us move forward in life, right? And is always there for us. And we all have maybe a guardian or maybe a mother or father that do that for us. Maybe it's a grandparent. Okay, maybe it's a grandparent. And we always try to find relationships and build relationships, friendships, okay, with those people that admire those traits and those characteristics. So in many ways, people are like, oh yeah, we try to find a lifelong partner that resembles our mother. And when you think of that, it's like, wait a minute, that's a little weird, don't you think? Why would we want to try to date your mom now? But that's what he's saying. That's what he's pretty much interpreting with his idea, his approach to psychology, that we're trying to always find someone that is resembling these characteristics, these traits. Okay, same thing with, say, women, trying to find someone that is much like her father. Okay, so someone that resembles those traits. Okay, that's always there for him, comforting. Okay, and also he says about our personality, our characteristics are pushed by these innate desires, these unconscious drives. Okay, and he resembles this to the Iceberg Method. So make sure you guys remember this Iceberg Method. But everyday life, okay, it might just be going to school. It might be just talking to friends. It might be just our acts that we do daily, the music we listen to, okay, the entertainment we watch. I love wrestling. I love watching WWE. So maybe my unconscious drive is I want to just wrestle, beat someone up. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I do like wrestling, but our unconscious drives pretty much creates our characteristics that we present in everyday life and our personality. And that these drives we try to hide. Okay, we try to hide these inner drives, these inner motives. So obviously, we don't just tell everybody what we think about. We just don't go out and tell everybody what we maybe desire because maybe people will think we're weird. All right. So there's some things that we try to keep secret, that we try to keep underneath the water, far away from people so that they don't know our inner abilities, our inner desires, okay, our inner pleasures, which kind of gets to the point where I said he has like a perverted approach here. So again, we don't really go out and tell everybody what we like about that person, what maybe we really like about that person, which we don't really want to get into too much. But he again says that we are motivated by these inner drives, these inner motives that we try to hide from everyday people. But our closest partners, our closest relationships, we might share these inner secrets, right? Okay, that's always true. If you're dating someone, if you have a brother, you might tell them things, or a sister, you might tell them things that you might not tell one of your friends or a stranger, obviously. Okay, so his Iceberg Method, real quick. I don't want to erase that. I'll just write it up over here. Is everybody good with this? Good? Okay. Sigmund Freud, his Iceberg Method. Again, we're motivated by these inner drives. This unconscious mind. I'll just put the Iceberg Method up here. Again, this is Freud's Iceberg Method here. His approach to psychology, psychoanalytic theory. Okay, so he resembles it like an iceberg because deep underwater we have this, he calls it the ID, okay, the ID, which is our unconscious drive. So underneath the water, the unconscious, the ID. Okay, the ID. And within the unconscious, like I said, this is our inner drives, desires, pleasures, okay, motives, things like that. Again, a lot of our pleasures, a lot of things that we like, we might not want everybody to know about. So that's why it's deep underneath the water, okay? That's why it's deep underneath the water. Again, this is our unconscious mind, okay? This is our unconscious mind. We're trying to hide this from people so they don't think we're really weird, okay? They don't think that our pleasures or motives or drives really are trying to, and it might be irrational in ways, okay? It might be thoughts and provocations that might alarm people, that might kind of end our relationship with them, depending on what it is. Again, it's like secrets. We don't want to share a secret with everybody. So we hide them underneath the water. It's in our unconscious mind. Okay, next one. We have the superego. Okay, and this is pre-conscious. Pre-conscious mind. So the superego almost acts like the angel on our shoulder. Okay, so this is our moral compass. Okay, so I'm going to just put up morals. How about good morals? Good morals, they're righteous thoughts. Okay, righteous thoughts, righteous behaviors, good moral behaviors. Okay, many people relate this to the angel on our shoulder. Okay, let's just put an angel on our shoulder, right? And then obviously the unconscious, the ID, these inner pleasures that we're trying to hide from people, what would that be on our shoulder? The devil, right? The devil. You guys ever see those cartoons back in the day? When the person's just looking at his shoulders and he's like, oh, there's a devil on his shoulder, there's an angel on his shoulder, and they're all trying to convince him to do certain things. This is where this method kind of comes from. Okay. So the unconscious, again, is the devil, our inner pleasures, our inner desires that we're trying to hide from. Superego, our pre-conscious mind. Okay, this is where we are trying to always think of good moral behavior. Discovery ed, right? Yeah, brother's keeper. Brother's keeper. But do we always show these characteristics? Do we always come off as this great, noble person? No, not all the time. Okay, that's why it's in our pre-conscious mind. Right? These are things that we don't really think of off the top of our head. Okay, this is things that we have to actually concentrate and understand to really know them. So, real quick, here's an example. What's 2 plus 2, Gracie? 4, right? So before I asked that question, were you thinking of the number 4? Do you think I would ever ask that question? No. Okay, so that's what that means by our pre-conscious mind. You know that information, but at the time before I asked that, you weren't thinking of the number 4. You didn't think I'd ever ask that question. That's why that's what it means in our pre-conscious mind. Okay? And finally, above the water, what we present in our everyday lifestyle, the ego. Okay? The ego. Not Star-Lord's father. Okay? The ego. And this is our conscious mind. Our conscious mind. So this is our personal characteristics, our personality, all right, our ability to relate to people and build relationships. What we show in our everyday life, okay? Our personality traits that we show in our everyday life. So this is you, okay? This is you, your ego. This is your conscious mind, what you're thinking of at the time. Rooster, I don't want to know what you're thinking of all the time, but that's your conscious mind, okay? It's out of the water. Okay, it's out of the water. That's our characteristics, our personality that we present to everyday life, or everybody, okay? And anybody that we maybe come in contact with. All right, so if you think about it, ego, that's you, okay? The superego, your preconscious mind, that's the angel on your shoulder. The ID, which is deep underwater, the unconscious mind, or our inner pleasures, or our secrets that we try to keep from everybody, that's the devil on your shoulder. Does that make sense, guys? I know that I threw a lot at you right there, okay? But as long as you remember our conscious mind, that's our personality that we present to everybody in our everyday life. Okay. Superego is like the angel on our shoulder, pre-conscious. We don't really think about it, but if we need to retrieve that information, we can do it at the snap of a finger. It's always stored in our minds, ready to roll. And it's our good morals. And what we try to present to people. We don't do it all the time, okay? But for the most part, we try to follow this moral code. And finally, deep underwater, that really drives us, that really push us to build relationships with